My mother gave my permission for me to join because I was underage. I joined up when I was 17. And when I was 18, I was flying in bombing missions over Germany. The most horrible scene of the war, to see what was going on.
In September of 1939, Canada joined the fight in World War II against Germany. At the time, a 14-year-old Arnold Graham watched and waited as his 6 brothers enlisted to fight for their country.
I was flying out of England, a porcupine squadron. I had one brother stationed in Scotland, another one in France and Germany, 2 in Italy, 1 in Kiska in the Aleutian Islands, and 1 in Canada. We were spread out all over the world.
Wow. Eager to serve alongside his brothers at just 17 years of age, Arnold asked his mother's consent to join Canada's military.
And she didn't want it, but I said, Mother, you got 6 sons fighting in the war now, and if I go, I might help get them home sooner. She said, okay, I'll sign up for you. I was living in Toronto at the time, working there, and I wanted to get out of there as fast as I can. I went and joined the Air Force down in Lachine, Quebec, signed up. Where did they ship me? Right back to Toronto. Oh, horrible.
Yeah.
And we were stationed in the Horse Palace out in the old exhibition grounds. And we had to walk downtown over to the island every day, a route march. And then we got finished there, I had to go back to Lachine. Then I went to Montjoly. Stayed there until I got my wings. I got my wings to come back to Lachine, and then I shipped to Halifax, and on the boat, first night out, I was vomiting, and I said, oh God, this is going to be a rough trip. I thought it was the waves. I vomited all night and puked, and somebody said, we'll have to take you up to the hospital on the top deck. Went up and the cars were driving by. We were still tied up to the harbor.
Really?
It was food sickness.
Oh my gosh.
So it was terrible. 11 days going across, I never got out of the bed. I vomited every day. All the time I was in England, I dreaded the trip coming home.
After his basic training was completed, Arnold was then shipped off to Europe.
We went to Bournemouth, a tourist city on the south end, had nice accommodation there, and that's where all the Canadian troops went when they first arrived there, Army and Air Force or anybody. And then we were sent to an Air Force base where we start to train and pick up our crew at Honeybourne. And that's where I got my crew. The pilot started picking out who he wanted, and that's what happened. And my Mark Breed married my cousin, and I ended up in the same crew. Well, the Air Force found out that, and they said, you can't fly together. You have to separate. So we flipped a coin. I stayed with my crew, and he went with the new crew. He was shot down on his first trip and killed. I saw their plane go down. The life expectancy of a gunner on the squadron was 2 weeks. So I outlived that 2 weeks and another 80-some days after, and still living. Well, some of the trips were horrible. 8, 9 hours. And we flew 25 to 40 below zero, depending on how high we flew, to get away from the anti-aircraft. I'd come back from a trip after 8.5 hours. I couldn't move. I couldn't move my legs. They were froze stiff. My bombardier used to go back and lift me down, lower me down to the ground until I could lay down and get feeling better. Every trip was the same. Horrible life. Well, I was the mid-upper gunner, and I knew if anybody came in, I knew how I could take them down. I trained every day to shoot with shotguns, all kinds of guns. My rear gunner, he didn't know how to load a gun, so I knew I had to do the shooting. I was supposed to fly the rear gunner, but he wouldn't fly mid-upper. He knew if he said to bail out, he couldn't get out from up there. It's too far to the door. So I took it. I said, I don't care. If I die, I die. And I told my pilot, you say bail out, the rest of the crew will bail out. I won't be. I'm going down with the plane. So he understood that. While you get coming near a city that you bombed, Hamburg or Hanover, Berlin, whatever it was, you knew the action was starting. They had fighter planes come up to start to attack you. Boy, you had that turret swiveling in all directions and told your pilot what to do, corkscrew if you were being attacked. I shot down the first German jet aircraft that flew in combat. We attacked our squadron. And that was the first time we ever had fighter escorts to protect us. And I thought, well, this is going to be a piece of cake. We don't have to worry about shooting any down. We got fighter escort. Well, when we got over Hamburg, all hell broke loose. We had a navigation problem getting there, and we were right at the back, one other plane beside us. And the pilot says, I'm going to work hard to get up with the rest of the main flight, so just keep your eyes open. About half a minute later, this black streak come by us, shot something out of the nose of the plane and blew up the plane right beside us. Not one of them got out, just blew it right out of the sky. They blew up bombs and all. So that plane circled and come back to attack us, and it couldn't turn fast. It flew fast, but it couldn't turn like the other plane. So come by us, was belly up past me. I got him in the sights and I almost emptied one machine gun right into his belly. I put him out of flight anyways. I said, you won't shoot another bomber down. It wasn't long we had another attack, so I shot another one down. But we got out of it. The fighters come back and helped us. They sent them Germans fleeing, shot a lot of them out of the sky. And then out come our Mustangs, our fighter escort. We called them in shot up a red flare. I said to Fisher, shoot up a red flare, we're being attacked. He shot the red and the fighters come back to protect us. And God, it was something to see. You wouldn't see fighter attacks like that in any movie or anything. It was so real. Yeah. Now that was the most exciting one. Thought I was going to be killed in, because they were shooting planes down all around us. I told pilot, drop the bombs now, not later, now. And my bombardier said, bombs away. Well, the pilot always said when to drop them. And he said, I didn't tell you, Mac said bombs are gone. So we had a little quite a talk over that, who said to drop the bombs. I said we had to drop them because if they hit us with one of those shells that blew that plane up beside us, we'd all be dead. At the end of the war was over, and they said we could take a practice flight to keep going over the cities that we bombed, and we flew low over them. What a terrible loss of life down there. Houses for blocks and blocks, not one standing. Hard to say how many we killed, but that was war. Yeah, well, when there were not missions, we were in a nesting hut that had a little wee stove that couldn't heat an egg crate, but we used to steal coal out of the coal yards, crawl under the fence and get coal to light the fire and keep us warm. One night, one of our boys, he was an Englishman, he was our flight engineer, I think. But anyhow, he said we were hungry. He said, I'll go to the farm and get some eggs. Nighttime.
Steal some eggs?
He sneaked into the hen house and got some eggs and brought them home. And
nice.
we were talking. He talked funny, and we said, "There's something wrong with your mouth." Yeah, he said, "I lost my teeth." And we said, "Where?" He said, "In the hen house there. I heard somebody coming. I got up to run, my teeth fell out." So he said, "I'll get them today." He went back over and he told the farmer what had happened. And he got his teeth. The farmer gave him some eggs. He said, "Don't you steal any more. If you want eggs, come, we'll give you some."
I couldn't imagine going back and asking for my teeth.
No.
Oh, that would have been funny. Those medals.
There's a medal on that picture up there.
Yep.
That Canadian government give that to air crew. Bomber Command, yeah.
That one right there.
And that's right in the picture. It's not posted on there. And the reason I have it in that picture, my crew were all dead by the time we got that medal. So I had that, it mounted on the picture so they'd have it with them. They're a great looking bunch of brothers, weren't they?
Some good looking lads there.
Oh God, were they ever. That one in the middle, he died the week after that picture was taken. He volunteered. Another crew needed one more trip before they graduated to 4-engine bombers, and their navigator was sick. He said, "I'll take his turn." They all got killed. Well, that's George McGregor. Then Derek Plater. Clayton Fisher. And Arnold Graham.
And that's you.
Yeah.
You're a handsome looking lad.
Yeah.
Wow. And this is obviously one of the planes that...
That's a Wellington Bomber.
A Wellington Bomber.
They were the first bombers they had in the war. And boy, oh boy, they lost a lot of men in them. They weren't fast. They didn't have heavy arms. Oh, trying to beat the Germans. We were bombing a lot of places. We figured they'll have to quit. And the day they crossed the Rhine, that was one of the biggest days of my life. I flew late at night. Got back, it said, "Don't leave the base, you're flying again tomorrow." We thought, why would we fly again tomorrow? The war's getting near an end, and we lost a lot of planes today. So we went down to the briefing room the next morning, and everybody was there, and they said, "Well, boys, got good news for you. You're bombing today, but you're not dropping bombs, you're dropping food." God, everybody started to hug one another, and we flew over hauling, low range, dropping food to them. Seen them running out and grabbing a parcel and hugging one another and waving to us, you know. And it was the best feeling I had during the war. To see them, they weren't going to starve to death any longer. And this one Dutch family that come to Canada, they were there, and they were the ones I dropped the food to. And their son said they'd met me, and he told them that I've dropped food to them. He said, "You go and take food to that man, coffee to him every day, and don't you ever stop." So he said he wouldn't. He said they saved our lives and you can help save his. So he comes every Tuesday and brings me a coffee. But he never stopped. His dad told him, "You never stop. You take food to that man as long as you live, and as long as he lives." And he said, "I will, Dad." And he never misses. If he's on a holiday, he'll phone me. Well, I was anxious to see my mother. I prayed every day. I carried the Bible next to my heart. And not every other mission. Every mission I prayed, "Lord, save me so I can get home to see my mother." He answered my prayer every day. Sometimes I thought it was impossible, but he answered them, and we made it home. Coming home on the boat, my one brother was away for 4 years. I'd seen him. He'd come to see me at the squadron. It hadn't been up to see him. And he was on the boat before I got there, and his boys saw me coming on. He went and told my brother to come down, give me a hug, and I said, "God, we're going to see Mother together again." What a wonderful feeling. And there's one other boy from Lakefield on the boat. I was walking on the deck one day just trying to get some fresh air and keep from getting sick. I saw this guy and I said, "I know him by his eyes." I said, "Eddie?" He looked at me, he said, "Arnold Grave, you young bugger." He said, "You were just a kid when I left." And he had been a special forces operator that parachuted behind enemy lines. Oh God, he told me some awful stories. When he was taken prisoner, there's no way that they could be not taken prisoner. They'd have died froze to death. So they surrendered and taken prisoner. At the end of the war, the Americans were coming through that way, and they went into the prison camp and told them they were free again. And they asked Eddie, "Is there anything you need?" He said, "I'm cold." And the American officer tapped the German officer that was in charge of the barracks there on the shoulder, pointing to his coat. And the German officer shook his head no. He said, "The American pulled out a revolver and shoved it under his chin." He said, "Now." He said he wasn't long taking the coat off, and that's the coat that they had on the troop ship coming home. Isn't that amazing? And he said to the German officer, "You won't need this any longer," and their sword or whatever they called it, he pulled it off him and give it to Eddie.
Wow.
Eddie brought that home with him along with the German's coat. Stay healthy and stay living in your country and protect it. Don't let anybody else take it over. And that's what I would tell them. Yes, I am. I'm proud of what I did for my country, I'll tell you that. I think about it every day. The times I shouldn't have lived, but we pulled out of it. We have our crew reunions and we talk about different trips we're on. Well, our wives we're all crying to think that we went through so much just to make a life.
Well, Mr. Graham, that was all the questions I had. I just want to personally thank you so much for
you're
your
welcome.
service. And you know, if it wasn't for people like yourself, you know,
Yeah.
Canada wouldn't be, and the world wouldn't be what it is right now.
No, it would not be, I'll tell you that. And I hope people never forget that. For while we suffered, I lost so many of my good buddies there. They were sleeping beside me one night, and the next night they never come again.
I was gonna say, do you mind if I shake your hand and thank you for
No,
your service?
not at all. Boy, it sure was nice. Thanks a lot.
No problem. I want to thank you so much
Yeah, all right.
for your service.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
No problem.
I'm sure you appreciate it.
I really do, and what I want to do with this video is to obviously help out you a lot
Yeah.
and share it as much as I can.
Well, that's good. I hope it helps out some.
Absolutely.
My first name is Arnold. My last name is Graham. I was born in Lakefield, Ontario, December the 12th, 1925. 12th child of Claire and Isaiah Graham. I'll be 96 on December the 12th this year.
Thank you so much for watching the very first episode of Remembering Canada's Veterans. My plan is to post these videos once a month, so subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to keep up to date with when I post and new videos like that. Feel free to share this video with any friends or family that might be interested in learning Arnold's story and other Canadian veterans. My Patreon link is down in the description. Patreon is a fundraising website that helps projects like myself produce videos and other types of content for people. So thank you so much again for watching the very first episode, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.